at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Snow Seafood and Steak on Airline Highway in Gonzales, Highway 74 at Airline. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott. And Jordan Kitch is back in the studio on Wednesdays. Professional sports handicapper Randy McKay is with us. Scott Rabley from The Advocate is with us. Wes Reynolds from VEASAN is with us. The SEC teleconference goes on Wednesday, and I'm going to take a little look here at some of the things that ESPN talked about last night in a college football playoff little show as we're at kind of the halfway part of the season. A couple of hard news things first, and we've been kind of monitoring the status of Taylon Green, the quarterback for Arkansas, who sustained an injury in the Tennessee game. Sam Pittman, who just finished on the teleconference about 15 minutes ago, said that he is still not at full speed. We'll see if he can get there. We've been encouraged by his progression this week. So we're to Wednesday, and he's still not at full speed at practice. CBS has got a report out said that they expect Taylon Green to play, but will he be compromised at all will be the question that we'll take right up into game time. He's been a big play guy and at times a bad play guy for Arkansas. He started every game, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's also their second leading rusher with 326 yards once you take out the sack yardage. So that'll be a big thing that we'll monitor during the week is Taylon Green. Jimmy, I said earlier, I think he's one of the most the scariest guys to watch in college football. Whether you for him or against him, he's a scary guy.
There's a few of those guys.
Yeah, he's the one that stands out to me.
Does he?
Yeah, that at any time. The Texas A&M game is a very good example of what I'm talking about. In that game, he threw for almost 300 yards, and he ran he had a 75-yard, I think it was a 75-yard touchdown in that game. It was a long touchdown run. But at the end, when they had the ball with a chance to drive the field and tie the score, he tried to extend the play a little bit too long. He's scrambling around back there pretty good, and he fumbles. A&M gets the ball, and they're able to hold on for the win. So that's kind of a little microcosm of
Well, what you're talking about is he's inconsistent, but dangerous. But he's capable of big plays. I mean, a guy like Milroe is a little bit further along, a little bit more dependable of a passer, but still not. I mean, if you watch the South Carolina game, that was a Taylon Green type of game. Yeah. So I mean, he was. They're very explosive, but very inconsistent, and you just don't know, and that is with a guy like Bobby Petrino, having the effect on him. Where would he be without him? Where's a guy like Nico at Tennessee right now? Is he or he's just inept, or is he dangerous and capable? I don't know. The kid from Florida is kind of like that. The freshman, certainly not Mertz. And keep in mind, Mertz got hurt on a touchdown pass to go up 10-0. I mean, just like you talk about the game shifted. It's 7 minutes to go in the third. Tennessee has a goose egg at home. So maybe Nico wasn't too dangerous at all. He has not thrown for 200 yards in a conference game yet. So that's not.
No, his high water mark was the NC State game, right?
He didn't throw for that. He threw for two interceptions in that game, Charlie.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm saying. And I think that was his high water mark for yardage. I'll look it up.
I mean, I don't know at Kent State. That was a joke.
Of the games that we're counting, of the games that matter, we'll give them.
Do we count Kent and NC State? Might go 2-10 this year. I mean, NC State have they won an ACC game yet? I don't think so.
They're 3-4.
They're 3-4.
They're 3-4.
Did they win a conference game?
I'm trying to remember who they
had to win.
Beat. He threw for 211 against NC State. So I guess if you kind of want to count that.
That's not, and that's a high water. That's not good.
No,
Not against that team.
They do not have a conference win. Their best win is against Northern Illinois.
And who they got left?
Cal, Stanford, Duke. They're going on the ACT.
Stanford.
Georgia,
Where's Stanford?
At home.
Okay, great.
Cal, Stanford, Duke, Georgia Tech are their next 4. They're going on the SAT SAT circuit. I guess
There's a lot of Duke. That's ACC.
That's all. I just meant that's all the academic schools.
Yes, I get it.
But Green again to me.
He's dangerous. He's dangerous. He's not dependable.
And you know what? For a guy that runs as well as he does, he's thick. He's 230 pounds.
Oh, he does not. He carries his weight a lot
he's
better
6'6".
than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a big person, is where I'm going with it.
He is going from erratic to, and look, he got pulled in some games at Boise State.
Right.
Because they just couldn't, they couldn't, I mean, they had to win those games. They had better personnel, and he was, maybe when they play up, he gives them a chance because his ceiling is higher than maybe the other option at Boise State when he was there, but he's not as dependable. They don't need that. They just need guys to be safe. So they pulled him in some different games. So anyway, he has improved with Bobby Petrino's tutelage, but he is far from a finished product.
No, and the long run was against Oklahoma State, not against A&M. He had a 20-something yard run against him. And then the back, Jaquindon Jackson is also a very big physical back. You think of Sam Pittman, you think physicality, right? His teams are usually pretty physical.
Yeah, offensive line coach.
So you got a 6'6", 230-pound quarterback who can run, and a 6'2", 235-pound running back who can drag you a little bit. So that to me is first and foremost for LSU. This group's going to line up, and they want to hit you in the mouth, and then if Green can sucker you in, there's some big plays in the pass game to be made for them.
If he is less than 100%, I mean that takes away from one of the dangerous aspects of him. Think about he's kind of in between where Milroe was last year and this year. Kind of maybe second half of the season, Milroe is kind of where he is. Imagine if Milroe couldn't run as much as he did.
Yeah.
Oh, he wouldn't be nearly the threat, that he is. So.
This has got some similarities.
And I bring up Milroe because people have seen him more.
Yeah, this got some similarities to the game 2 years ago, which would have been, I think we both agree, different had KJ Jefferson played. Jefferson was the experienced guy.
You're taking the words out of my mouth.
And they had to put a guy in who was not really a quarterback. Well, if Green can't go, you got to go to a freshman who's hardly played in Malachi Singleton. I mean, I think he's got 14 attempts on the season, and he's a true freshman. So you're talking about putting somebody in there that hasn't hardly played at all, just in kind of mop-up time. So it's a big, big drop-off if Green is limited in any way.
Beating Ole Miss is never like beating Alabama and Nick Saban, but the emotion in the building and on the field was pretty close, huh?
It was, given the nature of how the game ended, especially. Yes, it was.
2 years ago you had the walk-off too, and LSU was extremely flat the next week, and LSU caught a break that they had the backup quarterback, and he was bad. He was bad, and all he could do was try to run, and Perkins was running him down, and so it was just a punt fest. LSU caught a break last week, and impactful, one of the most impactful players last week, and that is Ian Harris came in less than 100% and didn't finish the game. And so now you got in this spot again where Brian Kelly, this is in his 3 years here, these are the biggest emotional letdowns, but these two are the biggest emotional letdown spots. 2 years ago, it's the Arkansas game again, and Pittman, they're trying to get him right. They're trying to get him up to. I would think that he was going to give it a shot, but is he compromised? Sounds like he's going to be.
He is on Wednesday. We'll see what he looks like on Saturday.
We're at Snow's Seafood and Steak here in Gonzales Airline Highway at Highway 74, and we're filling up for holiday parties right now. So if you are in the area, have a business in the area, or you want to come out here and do it at Snow's, I mean, we've more than equipped. We're in one of the banquet rooms right now. They've got just 2 different banquet rooms, but then they got a divider so they can open it up. It accommodates any size parties, so that's always a good time. Patio on a day like today. How about the patio for patio dining? They can close the flaps if it's too windy, like today. This is a Max AM/PM matchups type of weekend in Las Vegas. Max, have you seen the conditions in Las Vegas? It's about gusts of 40, 50 miles an hour. I mean, so, and we got to Wine Down Wednesday. Charlie, $5 wines every Wednesday over here at Snow's Seafood and Steak. And how about regularly, Tom, some of our featured wines by the glass. So you can get some high-quality wines by the glass without getting the whole bottle. We'll start off with the whites, like a Frank Family Chardonnay, Santa Margarita Pinot Grigio, La Crema Chardonnay, or the Hogue Cellars Riesling. Reds, like the Camus Cab, Frank Family Cabernet, another Camus one. Emilo, Merlot. Is on it, and La Crema Pinot Noir. So different featured red and whites by the glass. So if not everybody at your table wants to share a bottle of wine, you could do it by yourself. And then Thursdays as well. Thirsty Thursdays, $10 martinis here at Snow's Seafood and Steak, where over 50 years and counting. We've been 50 years since 2021, Charlie.
Yeah, they were born the same year as me, so I'm just as old as
you're 71.
1971. Yeah.
You're a young whippersnapper, Charlie.
That wine by the glass thing. Don't we have to sample that? Because, in the interest of, truth and advertising.
I got my coffee.
Can we be like Kathy Lee and Hoda today? can we test a little bit?
Oh, wait, no, not. You can knock yourself out, Charlie.
Have a glass of wine at lunch after this show.
There you go. Just remember, chicken and fish, white, steaks. And
I got my chart. I've watched over the years. Live at Snow's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Snow's Room. You can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, the new LouisianaSports.net. That's got a ton of content on it. New Handycast dropped last night, an extensive look at the film between LSU and Ole Miss with Richard Dixon. Search Handycast and subscribe on YouTube right now. We had a lot of fun with that last night. By the way, a lot of good stuff that we were able to pull out of that game film. Jimmy, there was a little show on ESPN last night. Not one of their full-blown. I say little show because it's not one of their full-blown ranking shows that they're going to do later in the season. But
Max, can you find the projections they had on that show last night?
This is for the college football
playoff show, and they're doing their own projections before. I think it's election night is the first night.
3 weeks from yesterday. Yeah, I think that is correct.
I think that's what I heard last night. I was grilling, listening to it, kind of in the background.
So so there's a couple of questions here. First of all, there's a free for all for the Big 12 title, and Iowa State's up at the top. But
Max's team is the best team.
Iowa State.
That to go in and routinely win at night in Morgantown, That impressed me.
The odds to win the Big 12 title, this is per the S&P, which is a power ranking based on probability. Iowa State's got a 32% chance to win the title. BYU's got a 23% chance, and Kansas State's got an 18.5% chance to win the title. My question to you is, if the Big 12 champion ends up with 2 losses, could they possibly be passed up by a group of 5 that's undefeated? Is there any chance that an 11-2
Boise State will still be, but 11-1 or 12-1 conference champion Boise State should still be ahead of it. And I just don't think that Army, Navy. I mean, we're throwing they're 5-0. I mean, they're going to go to Notre Dame, and then they're going to play each other. And I'm sorry, but that I know that they're supposed to be in. It doesn't count, but how can it not? How can you not, how could you put them in hoping that they take care of business in that game?
It would require a leap of faith because, and not only that, but what if it was 2 weeks in a row? If these two teams continue to run the table,
I just think that Boise State is going to be in. No, and I don't think that a 2-loss Iowa State or BYU or Kansas State is going to. All of them have. You agree?
I do.
Yeah, I
agree, and it's a big deal because let's just play scenarios for a second. If one of those group of 5 teams ended up as the 4th highest rated conference champion, they get a bye, and all of a sudden, that layup for the 5 seed. I say layup for the 5 seed. That group of 5 for the 5 seed is no longer there, and it jumbles a lot of other stuff up. If that doesn't happen, we've just been assuming all along that the group of 5 champion will be the 12 seed, and I still think they will be. But I wanted to ask you if you thought there was a chance. If not, SEC championship possibilities right now. Texas is obviously the overwhelming favorite right now at 48%, but the percentages for the second place team in the SEC are jumbled up. I know you haven't seen this particular power ranking, so who do you think is the second favorite right now to win the conference by?
Okay, well, we're talking about, you saying a power rating or based on their schedule?
Power rating, which is based on the probability of how things will turn out. They take
that's different, Charlie.
They take schedule into consideration.
Okay, you're talking about this is a probability. This is not a power rating.
Yes.
Georgia's got a tough schedule. I mean, they've got to go. They've got to go to Austin. They've got to go to Oxford, and they got to play Tennessee at home. That's going to be that's going to be tough. Where they play Georgia Tech as well. I mean, that's why I think I'm expecting a big effort out of Georgia this weekend. Because they keep in mind they got left out last year, and they know they're in a desperate spot already. And I don't think Texas is. I mean, this is the only game this is A&M. I mean, you split those two, you end up in the SEC championship game, and you go take your swing. I get it. It's not Alabama.
It is Alabama.
It is Alabama?
But barely. But Alabama right
What's
now.
Alabama's road game besides LSU? That's pretty much it, huh?
Alabama left on the schedule. They got to go to Tennessee this weekend.
Well, damn. I mean,
and then they got to go to Oklahoma.
That's tough.
They got to go to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's not very good, but you asked me what their road games were.
No. Well, I'm forgetting this weekend.
Yeah, Tennessee.
I mean, LSU and Tennessee, they don't figure to win both those.
I wouldn't think.
I don't figure they lose both of them. I think they split.
I think Tennessee's got a great chance to beat them this weekend, and LSU as well. Alabama's got a 15% chance to win the conference. And so who do you think's third?
LSU.
It's very close.
Texas A&M.
A&M.
No, it's A&M still undefeated, huh?
A&M still undefeated, as is LSU in the conference, and the game is at A&M.
Yeah,
so the A&M is 10.4%, LSU is 9.6%. So it's very, very close. And then Georgia's behind them at 7.2%. Because they've got to go to Austin this weekend.
Well, A&M and LSU have losses, so we're trying to
but not conference losses.
Yes, well aware.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to play Texas.
Somebody's got to play Texas, and so here was a scenario I was thinking about. Let's say LSU beats Arkansas, loses to A&M, and then runs out. Who's got a better chance to make the playoff? A 10-2 LSU that doesn't go to Atlanta, or a 10-2 A&M team, assuming they would lose another game somewhere, that ends up 10-3 with the loss to Texas?
No, your third place team in the SEC has got to. I mean,
and they might both get in.
I think they both get in at that point. I don't see how you keep a 10-win SEC team out of there.
A 10-3 A&M against a 10-2 LSU that they've beaten, or a 10-3 A&M team against a 10-2 Missouri team that if they were to finish.
Missouri's schedule's much lighter than LSU's
Correct.
and A&M's.
Okay,
much lighter, and that's going to hurt them.
A 10-3 A&M against a 10-2 Tennessee team.
Tennessee's is not terribly difficult either. Who have they beaten to this point?
Well, Tennessee's best win right now would be, I guess, at Oklahoma because it was there.
Oklahoma's going to be 6-6 this year.
Yeah. So right now it is, but that win's not going to age well. The other two wins are against Florida and NC State. So they don't have a
6-6 Florida, 5-7 NC State.
Mm-hmm. And a 6-6 Oklahoma. Now
Tennessee does not have any.
Now they still play Alabama and Georgia, so they've got they've got opportunities to put that big win on the schedule. But that L at Arkansas hurts.
Texas to this point doesn't have a win over. I don't think Michigan's finishing in the top 25. And I mean they're barely hanging on right now, and it's because of their preseason ranking based on their season last year and previous years. But I don't.
Michigan looks like an 8-4 team to me. That's about where I think that
they're not beating Ohio State.
No, they're not going to beat Ohio State. And they're not going to beat Oregon either.
No, so that's 4 right there. They're going to win the
games
rest
against Michigan State and Illinois, Indiana.
At Illinois this week?
They're at Illinois this week.
They're not winning both of those games, Illinois and Indiana.
No, they're probably not.
Throw it for 75 yards a game.
Yeah, now that I look at this, now that you say that, 7-5 is more likely than 8-4.
Yes,
yeah. And 7-5 definitely doesn't get you ranked. ACC champion if it's not.
What do you think they won with Indiana? You think Indiana at undefeated, but they played nobody? Their toughest win was Maryland. And if you look at it, their favorite this week, they're at home. They got a chance to go 11-1. With a loss to Ohio State. I guess they would have to get in the Big Ten championship game and do something, or how are they going to be in there? Because Ohio State will finish ahead of them based on head-to-head, and then Oregon will be undefeated.
I think an 11-1 Indiana team whose only loss is at Ohio State that doesn't play in the Big Ten championship game.
And what's their best win?
Their best win at that point would be
Michigan.
Based on what I think is going to happen, it'd probably be Nebraska. I think Nebraska finishes with a better record than Michigan does.
They're not going to finish.
They're 5-1 right now. I think Nebraska could finish with 8
Well,
wins.
they would be 5-2 then if you're looking at that scenario.
Yeah. The next
it is a light schedule for a Big Ten.
The next best team is Washington after that.
Washington would be a decent win. Washington, Nebraska, Michigan, all of those are kind of like
they're nice wins.
Yeah. They're all better than what they have right now.
Yes, they are. I actually think they got a great chance to lose this weekend. I think Nebraska's going to give them all they want.
What that is, Charlie, that is, and that line was actually preseason. Nebraska was favored. Mm-hmm. Okay, because Nebraska, and I was on Nebraska this year, Nebraska versus Oklahoma, head-to-head, wins. And I'm sorry, Nebraska versus Oklahoma because it's a schedule. And also Rule in year 2, and I believe in Rule. I know there's a ceiling, Nebraska and what they would used to be, but damn it, they can get to a damn bowl, and they're going to win 8 or 9 games this year.
I will probably end up taking Nebraska on Friday. I was doing bullpen stuff this morning for the picks. But Illinois and Colorado, who they played, are better than anybody in the
Charlie, did you bet D. Dallas when he was covering every week at Air Force?
I did.
Did you? How many games of those did you watch?
Very few. They were.
You didn't watch any of them. I didn't see any of them. They weren't on TV. They were not on TV. Okay. Yeah. My point is, but they were covering every week, right?
Yes.
What's Indiana's record against the spread this year?
6-0.
6-0.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can get against a directional Illinois team, okay, that's Max's games. He bets on those. So anyway, if you found one, they scored 70 points on them. They did cover by like 3 touchdowns. But they are the odds makers know. I got a group coming every week to bet D. Dallas.
Yeah.
That's why that line is inflated. It's kind of a pick'em game. That's 2 even teams. Certainly, offensive efficiency is better, even though with the light schedule. But these rosters, these teams are very close, and Indiana is not going to be terribly intimidating to play. So give them 3 points for their home field value. It should be 3. But it's 6.5 because they're getting action no matter what. Because you just hit 4 straight blackjacks. Charlie, you leaving the table?
Not unless my wife's yanking my arm and saying, "Get up, get up."
If she does, I got some. Well, you're better at this.
She used to work in the industry. She wouldn't. She wouldn't do that.
But you see, they're coming. I mean, they're betting with the house's money. Yeah. They're betting until the streak is broken.
I'm betting that it's this weekend. And
I love the points, too.
Yeah,
I love the points.
And God rest his soul, D. Dallas made us a lot of money.
D. Dallas?
God bless him.
I was with you every step of the way. With score phone.
Yeah. D. Dallas and Air Force, man. They were the 1989 ATM.
Yes, indeed. That was 89?
89 or 90. I think it was 89. Yeah.
There you go. Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, which you get every time you call 296-0060. Our great staff over at Legacy Title. Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, and Edie Cagnolati. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title.
Live at Snow's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
The Thibodeau store and the Pierreport store, helping you fix things up around the house. You know, if you don't know exactly how to proceed with one of these projects, and if you're like me, I got no idea. I got even a hard time following the YouTube videos. So what you do is, if you're going to do some of these projects yourself, talk to the experts at the Thibodeau store, because they're going to be able to save you time. They're going to be able to save you money. They know about these little small projects that you can do yourself and save yourself some time and money. If you need power tools, if you need hand tools, you're laying some concrete, you're doing some painting, you need lumber delivered, they can do that out of the Pierreport store. Let the professionals there help you out. And if you're down at the Thibodeau store, you can get fishing gear to go down to the coast, custom-made cypress furniture, crawfish and jambalaya pots, and a large supply of grills and big green egg cookers to choose from at the Thibodeau store, 900 St. Patrick Highway. Or do your shopping online. It's available for delivery at ThibodeauStore.com.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Snow's, live at lunch, airline at Highway 74 in Gonzales.
Let's go out to Randy McKay. Big dog, where you at today?
No, I'm still in Colorado. Things are going pretty well here. You guys must be excited with that big LSU comeback, and now you got Sean Payton coming in, so probably pretty exciting around Louisiana these days.
Well, the Saints aren't real excited. I mean, we had a two-game season, Randy. We were Super Bowl champions for the first 2 games of the season. So I mean, but that is flattened out quickly. Only the 5th time in the history of the NFL, a team, the Saints, gives up 300 yards passing and 275 yards rushing. So should be a lot lower scoring with a lot of the injuries that we have going on. But Surtain is out for Denver as well. And, boy, that made a difference on Sunday. Wow. In the game in your neck of the woods. But, Randy, the house got bruised up. We got bruised up. Was it as bad for you as it was for us?
Yeah, it was pretty bad, those late games. Of course, it was all favorites. And the only one I really had, pegged was the Chargers against the Broncos there. But them weeks are going to happen sometimes in the NFL, and sometimes the public's got to win. But we bounced back this week with some good plays as well.
Okay, so but where you tend to kind of fade the public a little bit, or the square sides, the recency bias. Like, for instance, I mean, you got to think that people are coming with Detroit, huh? I mean, that was a high-profile game. Detroit just destroyed them. I mean, even with the loss of Hutchinson, I mean, I gotta believe that Minnesota is the value there. But does it? And the great thing about you, Randy, you don't get too high, you don't get too low. You've done this for a while. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You don't let your emotions get into your handicapping. But for a lot of us, it'll test us a little bit for taking this team that looks so bad that you're getting a better number, like Jacksonville. How can we come back on Jacksonville this week? How can we? Cleveland did cover last week, so that was a pretty good. But man, just flip it, because the people that cashed the tickets on the favorites last week, they're betting them like the game's over this week.
Yeah, Jacksonville gets a little break because they're playing New England, of course, and they're used to playing in England. So this is a pretty big edge for them. But no play for me in that game as of yet. I haven't laid the price there, and that'd probably be the way to go. But I haven't played them. You know, Drake didn't look too bad in his first start. Did make a couple rookie mistakes, but and no play in that one. But you just bounce back. You look for some underdog value and probably some unders too. If you're gonna look at the totals, but this might be because the overs came in pretty big last week as well. So I see some juice down the. Might be a good week for some unders in the NFL.
Which of those games? All right, well, give us the games that you're looking at. What do you like this week in the NFL? Who you on?
All right, we took the opener here with Miami +4. A week off for Miami, probably good. You know, a little familiarity with Huntley and the coach here. You know, get their offense back in track. And this line's come down to 3.5 now with Richardson being named the starter. And I prefer him being in there over Flacco. And Flacco gives that team a boost. I can't believe he's not a starter for some team in the NFL. He's just makes all the right plays, and if you can protect him, he's a good quarterback. You know, so we'll see if they get the offense figured out. You know, going against a hot Indianapolis team that's 5-1 against the spread so far. But they're in between two division opponents, and you know we look at these look-ahead lines of the year, and this is one I had pegged. And Miami would probably be a pretty good bet here because Indianapolis is in between two division opponents.
You'd still recommend it at +3?
Yeah, if you can get plus money there, I see there's some. There might be a rogue 3.5. So
There's some plus money. Yeah.
Definitely recommend Miami here in this spot. I think they'll win outright, especially with Richardson starting.
Charlie, help me out. Cleveland doesn't want the guy that gives them the best chance at winning. Now the Colts don't want the guy that gives them the best chance at winning. I mean,
You want me to explain this to you again? Jimmy Haslam has $250 million in Deshaun Watson and told that coach, who went out and told the biggest lie since Pinocchio the other day.
So that's Cleveland.
Robert Irsay expended the 4th pick in the draft on Anthony Richardson, and that's the guy he wants in there, and he owns the club. And I agree with you. I agree with Randy. If you want to tell me who's going to give them a better chance to win this game, it's Joe Flacco all day and all night. But the owners got 4th pick in the draft last year, invested in this kid. That's the future as they see it, and they're going to play him when he's healthy. You asked.
Well, one, and this is why I always tell you, forget what you paid for him. I mean, forget what you have to move. San Francisco admit their guilt, or are they still playing Trey Lance or going to the Super Bowl?
They went to the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. Different clubs, operate different. Randy, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, spot on there by Charlie. He was like the judge on that one. He pretty much cleared everything up. So that was a good take there. I really enjoyed that. That was good. Yeah, I'm just surprised he's not a quarterback for some team out there when a lot of teams are desperate for a good quarterback. I mean, look at the Raiders even. You know, what he could be doing for that team.
I mean, where would you have Flacco this year, right now? Where would you have him ranked of the 32 starters?
I'd have him close to the top 10. I mean, that's what I've always had confidence in him. If you can get protection for him, we saw him go to the Jets the one year. They couldn't protect him. He's not a scrambling guy, but he's got a big arm. He's a smart quarterback, and he makes all the right moves. Doesn't usually turn the ball over. You know, we saw some big years with him with the Ravens. Could have won 2 Super Bowls. So, I mean, he's got the pedigree. So, and still coming back and playing strong now. The last 2 years, I see him being right up there close to the top 10.
I mean, you can run an offense. You can run an offense instead of just the backyard plays and the scrambling around and stuff like that.
And Taylor's back this week, I believe.
Who?
Jonathan Taylor's back this week.
I
believe,
that's
so that which helps.
Does that concern you? Because that's a big deal to have Taylor back, Randy.
Yeah, I see he's questionable in the injury report, but yeah, we'll see because you know they're a little banged up in the offensive line, and Miami gets some defensive players back, and this is a good week for Miami because they get a lot of players back. They were banged up, really needed to buy. So we'll see what Miami gets back, but yeah, it should be a good game and a good close game, and could go either way, and that's why I like the points.
Okay, who else you got?
Well, this one might be a little tough. Taking a road favorite here, the Eagles -3. A lot of people down on this Eagle club, but the Giants pretty banged up. Not sure if your guy Neighbors is back from LSU. Also, they lost Andrew Thomas, offensive lineman. So I think this is going to be a big edge here for Philly in the trenches. You know, they've had some questionable coaching moves, so hopefully they rely on running the ball and, play action and relying on their defensive line to dominate that Giants offensive line and cover the 3-point spread and get things back going. But they have a big edge on the injury report and a big edge in the trenches.
Yeah, but Neighbors has made progress. He's practicing in a red jersey, non-contact jersey for the Giants right now. Who else, Randy?
We took the LA Chargers -2 on a Monday Night Football against Arizona. Just feel like this game should have been 3 or over. The way this Charger team has outperformed expectation here with Harbaugh, and they're also good in the trenches. And I think they'll dominate as well in the trenches. And then we've seen Herbert, adapt to Harbaugh's type style, short completions like against Denver, ball control. They dominated that game of ball control, and their defense is playing really well. I mean, on both sides of the ball, and like the Chargers here at a cheap price, there should be over 3.5 instead of the 2.5 range.
Hey, what a couple of future questions for you. We've got some Commanders, Washington to win the division at +290. What you think about that, or could hedge a little bit on like Philadelphia? Is Dallas out? Your thoughts on NFC East and Washington's chances? You lose one of your better defensive linemen up front in Allen.
Yeah, I mean that's a good price. If you like Commanders, take them right now, and I would just let that go. They both look like they should win this week, and see what the price comes out next week. I wouldn't monkey with the price at all, but they look like they have a good opportunity here, and look at your schedule and see what they're playing further out if you want to take the other side there. But I'm sure you got. I wasn't sure if you got it in at bigger odds or not, but +290 is a pretty good price with the Commanders.
Yeah, +290. You're looking at +120 now, but we got down on them a little bit earlier. But there are, you think Dallas is out with this one? All the injuries they have, the direction they're going, or how they look?
Yeah, we'll see how they come off after the bye. They get San Fran, too, so that'll probably be another loss. So that might not be so good for them. They got a tough schedule. So, we'll see how they rebound after a bye. It could be a big effort, but not too high on the Dallas team, especially after last week.
Okay. What about what are we 30-1? Charlie is what Daniels to win MVP?
No, he's still at 12-1.
No. We got tickets at 30-1.
33-1 was where we started.
33-1. Okay. We're trying to get this. We're trying to get this thing where he's in the top 2 or 3, much deeper in a season, kind of like what we did with Purdy last year, where we profited, on that Christmas night game where we just shifted a lot of money to Jackson.
Yeah, I mean he's right in the conversation, whether they'll give it to him or not. I'm sure they'll give him Offensive Rookie of the Year, even though Williams looked better last week. But definitely in for that award, but with the way the other quarterbacks are playing, you got to kind of handicap the voters here. There's 50 voters on there. Will they give it to a rookie quarterback, the MVP, or will they give it to Josh Allen or Mahomes or one of the other guys if they have a big year, or Jared Goff too? I mean Jared Goff is right there as well. So so he's got some tough competition to get over the veterans, but it sounds like you guys get a good price.
All right, what about Denver? I got over 5.5. I can get under 7.5. That's a 2-game middle, but they play the Saints. This is kind of a 50-50 game Thursday night. Saints, a lot of injuries. Surtain's out for the Broncos. Then you got Carolina at home, which they should win. So this is I've kind of was waiting, but then those under 7.5 will probably be gone if they split these two. Your thoughts over 5.5, under 7.5.
I'd maybe wait after this Thursday game and maybe see how the odds are then. This game is, like you said, a 50-50 game, and Saints could pull this off with short rest. I did tease up the Saints with a couple other partners there, but I think it's a decent enough play to tease them up to the 8.5 range. But I would probably wait until after this Saints game, because this could go either way, and then you could decide what to do with it.
Saints all the way up to +3 in some places.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're +2.5 to +3. You look at their injury report. They're going to be with Rattler, obviously, but they're going to be without their entire interior offensive line and both wide receivers. I mean, unless Shaheed is in better shape than we think he is. So that's a lot, man. And we don't know about Taysom Hill either. So that's a lot.
All right, Randy, great stuff as always. Good luck. Let's get back at him this weekend, buddy. At RR39 on Twitter. Thank you, Randy.
Yep, sounds good, guys. Good luck, everybody out there.
Don't forget our friends at Workbox Services, my buddy Martin Padial. The Padial's doing a great job over at Workbox for a long time, but sold a portion of it. Didn't sell the whole thing. There are no more portalets and no more dumpsters that they're in charge of at Workbox, but movable storage needs, commercial and or residential. For instance, shipping containers, custom storage containers, all different sizes. Most come with one standard size. Not at Workbox. We can do 8 by 8 feet, 8 by 10, 8 by 20, or 8 by 40 feet. And we can customize them to your need or your exactly what you need or what you desire. Tool storage container for a job site, no problem. We could customize a lunchroom for you. We can do welders, plumbers, need a custom work site. On site, no problem. Custom safety storage near the plant so that you can take care of all of your stuff before you enter the plant, reach all the safety requirements before you enter the plant. Customize and dual purpose storage containers, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting, different materials, wooden or metal, exactly the way you want it, exactly the way you need it for your custom storage containers on site. Contact Workbox today, 343-4886, 343-4886, or workboxllc.com.
Live at Snows, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Saints injury report is not for the meek at heart. This is what New Orleans released yesterday. Derek Carr obviously is out. Cesar Ruiz is out. Pete Werner did not practice yesterday. He's got to practice today to have any shot. Same thing for Rashid Shaheed. He hasn't practiced either the first 2 days. Unless he does something today, he's not going to play tomorrow night. Chris Olave has not, obviously hadn't practiced in the last couple of days. They have not updated any of his, his progression in the concussion protocol, but we're not expecting him back. Taysom Hill did practice in a limited role yesterday, so they might get him back. Lucas Patrick also back on a limited basis yesterday, so they might get one of their what was originally backup linemen back. But Jimmy, it's a rough looking offensive group. If Patrick doesn't go, then you're looking at Spencer Rattler at quarterback, Cedric Wilson and Bub Means at wide receiver, Connor McGovern, Nick Saldiveri, and Landon Young as your interior offensive line. If Lucas Patrick doesn't go, and maybe not with Taysom Hill. Whew. That's rough. That's why that line has moved as much as it has. Denver now a 2.5 to 3 point favorite. Yikes! Thursday night football going to be rough in New Orleans for Sean Payton's return.
Denver's got they're out their best player too. They're not like actually world.
No, they're not a world beater either.
No.
Hour number 2 straight ahead from Snows 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Snow's Live at Lunch. Glad that you're with us today. Come on by and holiday parties coming up here in the very near future. Make your reservations here.
Well, it's just around the corner, but you better start making your plans now if you're going to get in over here at Snow's. So plenty of banquet space. We're in one of the banquet rooms right now. And it opens up. So, they got the divider where it can be, to accommodate the different size groups that you have for your holiday parties. So big reservations as well. So, but if you need space, you're doing it over here. We do a great job with it. Get great reviews. So it's very, very busy during the holiday season with the parties over here. So if you're in the area, got a business, got a company in the area, here at the Airline Highway at Highway 74 in Gonzales, man, start making your plans to celebrate over here at Snow's today.
Scott Rabelais with us. Scott, good afternoon. How are you?
Always some sunshine pumped my way when I'm on with Charles and Jimmy.
Oh yeah, that's our job. All right,
this is the peak of the week. This is the hump, and then after I get through you guys, we're on the downhill slide towards the next game.
I like it. I like it, Rez. Pig of the week. Pig of the week. Pig of the week.
all downhill from here. We're gathering some momentum. All right, so what's your big takeaway? There's plenty of sunshine to pump after a win like that because you won the game. How you got there is a little bit trickier. What's your biggest takeaways from LSU's win?
You're right. So many things. You could point to their grittiness. Obviously, they never led the entire game until they scored the winning touchdown. So I got to say, the defense. Just there were times. They still had some busts and gave up some big plays, certainly, and a lot of yards. But there were times when they looked like the knights of old, as they say. They looked like an LSU defense. The 6 sacks. I mean, that's really tremendous. And breaking up passes. I saw some really close order pass coverage. Breaking up things, and obviously Weeks' play. And again, I said this over and over again, and I'm certainly not glad Harold Perkins got hurt, but you kind of can't help but say that it appears to be addition by subtraction. That everyone's in the right spot now. Major Burns is playing the star position. Whit Weeks is, playing this role, and he's just the energizer buddy. His attitude and effort energizes the whole team defense. And obviously, what Swinson and Jones are doing off the edges is really impressive. And the defensive tackles have been doing okay. It's not going to be the defense of 2011 or 2003 or something like that, but they're making progress. And to hold Ole Miss in the second half, with their explosiveness, and I know Trey Harris got hurt, and it didn't finish the game, but to hold them to 3 field goals, including overtime, was pretty impressive. So I think there's a lot there to be encouraged about if you're an LSU fan.
Kelly promised to shorten his rotations in the secondary, and he did. The 5 guys that were back there, Stamps and Alexander at the corners, and Alexander had a fabulous game. Burns at the star, and Ryan and Gilbert at the safeties. That appears to be the 5 he's going to go with. They took about 97% of the snaps, so they've identified what they want as far as a rotation, and that's what they stuck with. It worked with them.
Just a special night in Tiger Stadium, juiced by the crowd, or sustainable?
Well, that's the real question, isn't it, Scott? What do you think?
Well, certainly the crowd played a part. Obviously, it was a special night. You had the lights and the lights and the fireworks, and Shaq is there, and Livy Dunn and Paul Skeens, and the whole thing. So yeah, now you're going on the road, and I just got off the SEC teleconference, listened to Brian Kelly, I listened to Sam Pittman, and he said they had a great atmosphere for the Tennessee game 2 weeks ago when they upset Tennessee, and they're hoping for something as good or better Saturday night. So LSU's got to go and overcome that. They've got to go and overcome what you expect will be it's not Tiger Stadium, Razorback Stadium is not Tiger Stadium, but it can be loud, it can be enthusiastic, and they've got reason to be celebrating their team coming off such a big win and then an open date. So now you overcome that and show that you're the better team. LSU nonetheless is favored and over by a close margin. There's been a lot of close margins. Can you do the little things that carry you over and win what has traditionally been a tight game against a worthy, somewhat dangerous opponent, but not one that you can't go and overcome on the road if you play well and if you overcome those intangibles that Ole Miss was unable to on Saturday night.
Since that great 2011 team, LSU has only beaten Arkansas by more than a score once in Fayetteville. Now, they didn't play them there in 19. They played them in Baton Rouge, and that was a particularly bad Arkansas team. But the point being that they won by 3 the last time they went there. They won by 3 the time they went before that. They won by 7 the time they went there before that. It's just like I said, it's their annual trip to the dentist when they go up to Fayetteville. What do you think about?
Nice.
I mean, it just is a biannual trip to the dentist. I mean, it's
just brush and floss your teeth. The dentist isn't that bad.
Hard to win up there, man. Talon Green, Pittman. You were listening to him. What was his tone? We read the quotes about what he believes about Green's ability to play. What was his tone about kind of his optimism about his quarterback?
Yeah, I think his tone says that there's certainly it's trending in the fact that he's going to try to play, and it's will it be 100% effective? I think that's what I got out of it. That Green is going to play. Will he be able to do all the things that he does? With his feet or something like that that they would normally get from him is going to be the big question. But I think I would certainly he's going to be guarded as you can expect on a teleconference or something like that. But I think it. You plus that with what's actually going on, what he doesn't want to say is that, I think he's going to play, but do they think he's going to be, everything, he was before hurting his knee against Tennessee? Probably not. So that'll probably be taken into account. But I think we'll see him on Saturday.
Your column today, you did midterm grades for every portion of this team. You gave the coaching an A. It wasn't as much about Brian Kelly as it was about the staff. Explain why you gave him an A.
Yeah, I think Brian Kelly, his grade comes from finally realizing I've got to clean house on the defensive side of the ball, literally and figuratively, with Matt House being the defensive coordinator, and rehire and come to his senses and bring Corey Raymond back and make win the bidding war to get Blake Baker, as Wilson Alexander wrote Saturday. Missouri was willing to match, but the ties of Louisiana, him having played here and his wife being from here, playing soccer for LSU certainly helped. But then I think certainly Bo Davis has been worth the investment. I think Kevin Peoples, the defensive ends coach, has been worth the investment. And Joe Sloan, I still think it has a little growing to do. Sometimes the play calling gets a little stale, but then they'll run some inventive play like at the goal line against South Carolina when they're kind of motioning it this way and they run to the left, motion and right, run to the left, and they catch them off guard. And there's some other nice plays you could point to over the course of the season. But I think Kelly finally has the best staff that he's had, certainly in his 3 years here. And he's made some moves that he probably should have made from the beginning, but nonetheless, he's come around to them. And I think they're getting as much as they can out of this team, pretty much, considering some of the key injuries they've had.
We like to look at just conference games. It's such a cleaner stat. In the 2 conference games that LSU has played, they're 4th in the league in total offense. They're 14th in the league in total defense. I think that the defense has looked a little bit better than that, but that South Carolina game had all of those gashes. So let's just talk about the improvement. How much better are they on defense this week as opposed to what they were 3 weeks ago when they played South Carolina? Because Ole Miss has got significantly better personnel offensively, and they're better coached on the offensive side, but LSU did a much better job at containing them than they did South Carolina.
Yeah, I think that the game showed showed their growth. Like I said, it's not perfect. It's not suffocating defense, but they made plays against a formidable offense. Arguably the best offense they've played so far. And now you're going to play an Arkansas team that is not as gifted offensively, but they're good on defense. So you're going to have to try to hold them down. You can't give up 30 points and probably expect to win the game. I think it's a game that's going to be won kind of like the Ole Miss game in the 20s, or maybe even a little less than that. So they're making those strides. Like the fact that they can rush, they can get a lot of pressure with the front four. They do like to blitz. Blake Baker likes to blitz, but they don't always, and that's a huge thing, and that's very impressive. And that Braden Swinton is just players and teams don't exist in a vacuum, right? What you see in August or on opening day is not what you get sometimes by mid October or certainly into November, good or bad. And I think you're seeing growth there. Who would have thought Braden Swinton would be so effective? He's got 7 sacks. The school record, single season record, is 12. I mean, he's got a shot at that. So that's impressive. And then Savion Jones has been impressive as well. Greg Penn is a great leader right in the middle, and then Weeks just cracks me up. He's just always smiling, man. You couldn't chisel that smile off his face after the game the other day. He said, I ran from one end zone to the other. I was so excited.
That dude is something, man.
He's fun to watch.
He had a game, boy.
He is fun to watch. Last thing, Rab, let's play hypothetical here for just a second and say that Texas beats Georgia on Saturday. If they do, they can all but make their reservations for Atlanta. Who do you think is the most likely team to face off against Texas in a hypothetical SEC championship game?
Boy, that's a heck of a question, because it does seem like it's Texas and everyone else is kind of in that group behind them, because you have only LSU and A&M that are undefeated, and then you got a bunch of teams with one loss. I wish you'd ask me after the Alabama-Tennessee game.
Well, it'd be a lot easier then, Scott. I'm not here to make your life easy,
No, that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. Look, I'll say this. If I can answer this way, if LSU can get through these next 3 games 2-1, which means only 1 conference loss, then you can win the rest, can win out in November. I think they'll be favored at Florida. They can be favored over Virginia. They can be favored over Oklahoma. Would you agree, Jimmy? They'll be favored over Oklahoma.
Yes, indeed.
They might be a double-digit favorite by that time.
That's 7-1, and you'd have the right. You could have the right tiebreakers. Now, what does A&M do? Do you beat A&M next week, and you lose to Alabama, or vice versa? Do you win this game and lose to, I don't know. But if LSU can get through 2-1. In these next 3, now that they've won the first game of this juggernaut right in the middle of their schedule, I think that bodes well for LSU. I got to think, because Georgia could have their second loss, and they're looking up at you.
I say this, and criticize if you want. A win over Texas A&M right now is more valuable than a win over Alabama. Just in the conference standings, with the schedule coming up for both teams. A tiebreaker over A&M is more valuable than a tiebreaker over Alabama.
Charlie,
if you're trying to get to
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Go crazy trying to figure. Let the games play out. This is what's fun about it. Games matter. Games matter.
The games matter.
But you know what's funny? Georgia might not be as good as they were. Alabama or LSU or A&M's just on the upstart. But how many of the teams would have Texas schedule and not be probable to get in there? That thing is a joke. Their conference schedule.
I don't know.
Their overall schedule. Period.
I don't know if A&M would have gone up in week 1 and beaten Michigan. They didn't beat Notre Dame, so at home.
They gave Oklahoma a much tougher schedule.
We're talking about going to the conference championship. That game doesn't count, sir.
It doesn't. I get it.
Okay.
I get
Okay.
It. Well, you asked me what would they be against Texas' schedule.
Give me Michigan in week 2, dude, with all their turnover. I'm sorry. Please. Michigan's going to be 7-5, Charlie.
They are, but A&M lost at home to Notre Dame, who lost to Northern Illinois.
No. But A&M's a little bit different, but now, the conference schedule, they're not going to beat Mississippi State at home?
No,
they're going to beat Arkansas neutral? They already did. I'm sorry.
You asked me what I thought the schedule, what they would do against Texas schedule.
I thought we were talking about going to the SEC championship game.
Well,
which those don't mean.
And
Charlie, don't try and defend that schedule, please. You're really in a bad spot.
I'm not. Rab, we're
not going to make things easy in this conference for Texas. No, we're not going to do that. Damn it. No. You know what we're going to do? We're going to send all these reckless drivers to F1 weekend in Austin. That's what we're going to do.
Maybe that's why Nick retired.
There we go.
And then New Texas was going to get all the breaks.
Scott, I got to ask you, though. You had Digest. Where's this environment rank on Saturday night?
It was great. It was certainly top 10. I still say that Alabama game 2 years ago, for all that it was, with it being the last game against Nick Saban in Tiger Stadium, and the way they came back. But was spectacular, and it was everything. It was just classic Tiger Stadium, and it's not always like that, as y'all know. It's not always like that, but it was yell to the Wilson sits to my right, Wilson Alexander sits to my right in the press. It was yell at Wilson loud. Okay, it's not always like that, but to talk to him, it was yelling at Wilson loud. So that's a good judge of it. It was tremendous.
It was just fun.
Yeah,
it was fun, and we can't have it both ways. We're trying to get people. Somebody asked me, "Really, y'all still storming the field for Ole Miss?" I said, "You can't have it both ways." I'm sorry. You can't ask them to come all the way, stay for 4.5 hours, whatever it is, win on a walk-off, and if it's a top 10 team, whether it's Ole Miss or somebody else, I mean, you can't have it both ways. I mean, you want UCLA today? Huh? You want that? They're no threat to rush the field.
They didn't tear the goalpost down.
Okay, but I mean, it's where it is right now. No, those people aren't, especially the students, aren't saying, no, Ole Miss is runts. They don't want to crap. No, we shouldn't be doing this. Let's just stay. No, they're all lathered up. It's nighttime. You can't have it both ways. So,
Rad, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. Safe travels to Fayetteville.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
And have fun at the dentist, Rabs. So don't forget, Fayetteville's really cool these days.
I enjoyed my trips up there.
It's a pretty cool little.
I went for baseball, but I enjoyed my trips.
There is not a campus on the country that has more new construction than Fayetteville, Arkansas.
It's
right?
pretty.
No doubt. Real seasons. You have seasons there. Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of southern Louisiana for over 50 years, including their newest branch at Burbank and Bluebonnet. A great team over at United Community Bank. Prentice Wilkes, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, and David Henry. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody. That's the wrong one, Charlie. Your business is our business at United Community Bank. We support the hard-working folks behind local business, from initial startup loans to ongoing planning and assessments. United Community Bank is here for you. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at lunch from Snow's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
All right, let's go out to Las Vegas, talk to Wes Reynolds. Wes, it was pretty bloody for us last weekend. Was it as rough for you as it was for us handicapping football last weekend?
Yeah, more especially in the NFL. This was not a great week, and usually when you have road favorites go perfect, that's not going to be a good week for the books, and that's not going to be a good week for me, at least more often than not. So, NFL was not great. College was okay, and it's kind of been okay all season. But, yeah, the NFL was a little bit of a bloodbath for me last week.
Yes, it was for us as well. Who are you looking at this week in college? Let's start with college first.
Yeah, a couple I did play, and look, this may be a bad plan going awry here, but I did go against both the academies as big favorites here, because now you have both Army and Navy ranked for the first time at the same time since 1960. This is just after the Staubach era at Navy, the last time both of these teams got ranked. But I just think weighing these big numbers with Army and Navy, maybe getting a little bit overpriced. They've certainly been terrific and great stories. But East Carolina getting about 15.5, Charlotte getting 17 or 17.5, I think could be worth a take there. And then one ugly Big Ten dog, and I'm going to go ahead and keep following this because it's kind of worked a little bit so far this year. These teams that got to travel multiple time zones in the Big Ten, it hasn't worked out well for them. They're only 3-10 straight up. Couple wins last week. Minnesota barely escaped at UCLA. And then, of course, Penn State, and I was lucky, had the money line in that game. They get by USC. A couple questionable calls that went against the Trojans, and that's who I'm going to fade this week. Now they're going all the way across the country to face a Maryland team that got blown out in College Park by Northwestern. They looked awful against Northwestern. So I'm going to buy on the low here and take the Terps get 7.5 against USC, because I wonder about USC's psyche right now. You had the big win, of course, over the Tigers in the opener, But now you're 3-3. And I wonder about this USC because now you're starting to hear people chirp a little bit about, oh, man, this is all Lincoln Riley's going to do here at USC with this kind of subpar record. So, maybe that motivates them, but I think that's a lot of points away to Maryland. So I'm going to take the Terps at home.
Yeah, Maryland, gets beat 37-10 at home by Northwestern as a double-digit favorite. So, 37-point difference, 38 point difference on the point spread right there. Hey, not just a chirp and maybe not just a little bit of a quit in a transfer heavy roster. That's you got to look at USC, but flat out, they lose 2 defensive players for the year. And their leading tackler, he's out for the year. Another, I think, a defensive end. So 2 starters, including their leading tackler, both done for the year. And this is where they made a little bit of improve from last year. Didn't hold up at the end against Penn State, but still.
And that's 2 weeks after Barry Alexander transferred out.
Yes.
Who was the highest rated guy on that defense.
Yeah. So no, it's the tangible we can see, much less the intangible that you wonder about them. And then, man, coast to coast trip against Maryland. In Maryland, if you got any pride, my goodness. And that Maryland Indiana game, they certainly matched up. They had their chances in that game. Wes, I know you watched it carefully, but that was a bit of a fight for a while. Speaking of Army Navy covering seemingly every week, we know that Indiana has, and boy, we were just talking about it earlier. That line seems a little bit inflated with the anticipation. The odds makers know that these people have been betting Indiana every week. Well, they're coming again. They're playing with the house's money. You think it's a little bit inflated this week in this key game against Nebraska?
I actually do, and I would like to see the 7 pop. I think there's some 7 with some juice if you want to take the dog at a couple stores out there. It's mainly 6.5. But look, big pressure now for Indiana. You got the Fox, the big noon kickoff show coming into town. So that's, it's not exactly game day, but it's still a big deal. And you're a featured game on that schedule. You're getting all kind of mention in the media, every single week because Joe Buck was a grad student at IU. So he's an alum and has been out in IU a little bit. So Troy Aikman's getting aboard on the Monday Night Football broadcast, all the media. So, it's a different level of hype for Indiana. And, let's see how they handle it. I think they got more veteran players coming in from James Madison, of course, with Coach Sig, that, they'd be able to handle that. But I think that that's a little high for a Nebraska defense, and I think it's still a pretty solid defense. And you got I think Matt Rhule is a good college coach. And he's proven that everywhere he's been. And I think giving him almost a touchdown here, I think that this is going to be a fight to the end. I think that line is absolutely inflated.
Yeah, I think it should be by 2.5 or 3 instead of the 6.5. But again, I understand why it's that way, and they've just been cashing tickets. Like a slot, like an ATM. Both teams coming off of buys, but Nebraska was peeking toward that matchup against Ohio State next week. I don't think they'll be looking ahead quite as much with Indiana being undefeated to this point. How about that? 6-0 and 5-1 with Indiana. Oh, Wes, who are we looking at in the NFL this week?
Yeah, maybe we should go with all the road favorites like last week, considering they did so well. But,
so, are you tempted when you have a week like that? You hold to your guns, or it's a little maneuvering? Case by case. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a little case by case. Look, you get some of those weeks, man, where all the underdogs get there and the public gets cleaned out, and then you get all the favorites where the public cleans up, and that's exactly what they did last. Yeah, I still think you got to go a little case by case, and the NFL is such a week-to-week proposition where you got to buy the teams low and sell high. I know that's very cliche, but that's usually how you do it and have success long term in the NFL. So, couple I played, I did play Seattle +3 at Atlanta. I think Atlanta, has been a little fortunate. They got away from Carolina in the second half. That was a competitive game for about a little over a half, and then Atlanta kind of ran away from them. But Atlanta coming home against Seattle. Seattle has lost 2 games in a row at home, which is rare because that's such a good home field. So now they go on the road. They do get the extra prep time because they did play on Thursday night against the 49ers and, couldn't get inside that number late. We'll see if Seattle, maybe they get some positive injury news with Tariq Woolen and Byron Murphy. That Seattle defense has been banged up, and that's why I think you've seen them go on this losing streak where they've lost 3 in a row. So I'm going to buy on Seattle here and take them at +3. And then a couple other ones. Cleveland, that might be approaching 7 here because now the world's on the Bengals because they're a little bit better than their record indicates. So, do I do it with the Browns here, man? And it is so hard to do. And I didn't do it last week, even though they did cover against Philly. But maybe this is the bottom for Cleveland. And by the way, Nick Chubb is going to be back for the Browns this week. So that can only help these guys' cause.
Okay. Did you hear? Did you know that, Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I stashed him. I know you don't care, but I stashed him on one of my fantasy teams. So I've been watching him. So yes.
Well, I'm not going to care if he's available.
Yeah.
They kind of need him. That offense.
They need something.
They need Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty much it.
Hey, Wes, did you? I know you're focused on the. On the Oregon-Ohio State game. How much did you watch, and what did you think of LSU's game against Ole Miss?
I watched a lot of it because I was on the Tigers, and it wasn't looking very promising until even after 4 zeros were on the clock. It wasn't looking promising, but I got to say, I got to give it to Garrett Nussmeier, man. That kid's tough. He is tough, and he took a licking, and they just kept grinding, and eventually got that score in overtime. So, and look, I like LSU in that spot late on a Saturday night. That is a tough place to play. And they got the win over Ole Miss, and the defense, just kind of kept them in the game. And then Nussmeier made some big plays on that final drive to tie it up. And then, of course, the throw in overtime. But, a little bit tricky spot, though, going to Arkansas this week, laying the 3. We'll see if Kalen Green, the quarterback for Arkansas, Arkansas can actually throw the football this year. Unlike last year, because Kalen Green couldn't throw the ball at Boise State. And we know KJ Jefferson, he's already been benched down there at UCF. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a hell of a spot, I think, for LSU here. I would lean Arkansas getting the field goal or more.
Wes, you got a PGA stop out in your neck of the woods, out toward the Rampart. Stayed at the Rampart before and looked out on this course. It's the Colucci Open in town this week. So, but the extreme weather conditions favorable to the Thursday a.m., Friday p.m. group. Maybe not as many first round matchup or early first day matchups, but how can we take advantage of these extreme conditions? Maybe bet some, Thursday p.m., Friday a.m., a few notables to miss the cut. I mean, how would you strategize in this with these type of windy conditions that do favor one particular group?
Jimmy, Colucci will always take care of you at the Rampart out in Summerlin.
That's pretty good.
I need to do that. But anywho, looking at this, it's a birdie fest here. Only if the wind blows are you going to get higher scoring here. But you're going to have to be about 20 under par, I think, to even be in contention for this thing. So, we'll see if Tom Kim does the 3-peat, but just a couple guys I did play. I played a lot of mid-range guys this week. I played Bo Hosler, who probably should have won in Mississippi a couple weeks ago and then lost in the playoff to Kevin Yu. Eric Cole was third here last year, shot 62 in the final round. I think he could go well. A local angle, too, Harry Hall, who played his college golf at UNLV, 45-1, resides here in Las Vegas, won the alternate event in Kentucky earlier this summer, so he's got the confidence of the PGA Tour winner. J.J. Spawn also at 45-1, and then a little bit of a longer shot here. And a guy that used to be a top 20 player in the world, we thought maybe this guy's going to be a major winner, but he had that injury, that back surgery that was like a year and a half. He's saying he's 100% healthy. Daniel Berger at about 70-1. He finished 7th in Mississippi a couple weeks ago, was 36-hole leader. He's got good history on desert golf, so that's a guy I think you want to look at here. But, yeah, this is not a very top-heavy field. I think the best-ranked player actually is Tom Kim in this field. So a lot of guys taking this week off.
Great stuff as always, Wes. Follow Wes on Twitter at Wes Reynolds 1. Wes, good luck to you this week. We'll talk to you next.
You bet, fellas. Thank you for having me.
All right. Don't forget our friends over at Electric Man, electricmanbatonrouge.com. Charlie, electrical work is not do-it-yourself stuff at the house. No. Don't try and figure it out. Your safety is our top priority over at Electric Man. So check us out at electricmanbatonrouge.com. You can call us as well at 372-5336. 5356. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, emergency service. Need an electrician again, give us a call. $79 service calls, as low as that. Installations, lighting, electrical safety. We can do it all for you. Excuse me, at any time at Electric Man in electricmanbatonrouge.com. Licensed professionals, we're insured. We provide free inspections, provide quality service, free estimates, friendly technicians, guaranteed schedule appointments. Not going to give you a 4-hour window to keep you hostage at your house for the whole doggone afternoon or morning. Childproof outlets, electrical safety inspections, dedicated computer circuits, electrical code updates, wiring updates, surge protection, circuit breaker replacements, you name it, we do it. electricmanbatonrouge.com.
Live at Snows, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I forgot to do something on Tuesday. I had all planned to do this, and I forgot. Maybe it was the idea that I could just put Alabama in no class, which was lots of fun. But I meant to put Kevin Stefanski in no class, the head coach of the Browns.
What did he do?
On Monday, went out with a straight face in his weekly press deal and said, I think Deshaun gives us the best chance to win. Continues to give us the best. Wait, this gets better. Continues to give us the best chance to win. We need to play really good offensive football at his position to be successful. Reporter asked a follow-up. Asked it exactly like this. Is Jimmy Haslam, the owner, forcing you to stick with Watson? Now, Stefanski's in a spot here because he can tell the truth and alienate his boss, or he can lie and look like an idiot. So, protecting his job and protecting his employer, I guess he chose to look.
But he had to elaborate.
He chose to look like an idiot. He says, I don't get caught up in good narrative. I don't get caught up in narratives. We have a good dialogue with myself, the general manager, and ownership about all things we do with this team. They've been nothing but supportive, but any decision when it comes to football is my decision. I feel for him because he's in a no-win situation.
Kind of like when the management forced you to fire me. You knew you were in a no-win situation.
I was.
You know it made no sense.
I didn't want to fire you. I didn't make me do it. You know, stand on this side of the room, you know, and you tell him, okay, I did it. You know, I had bills to pay, Jimmy. I'm sorry. I didn't want to do it.
Charlie, I did not blame you.
I know. I mean, we've been through some separations and reuniting over the years.
Yes.
But he had to do it, and so he's basically got to go out there and the line where he said, I still think he gives us the best chance to win, which he cannot possibly, as a working brain football coach, believe. I know he doesn't. But he's got to go out there, and this is why with the owners you just got to say sometimes, man, I don't have a choice here. I've told the Saban story before where, you know, Art Modell comes in and says, you got to play Pepper Johnson.
You just said it, Charlie.
He can't run. He's got to play.
Randy just called you the judge. You know,
Randy
nice said you're the judge. I mean, you know, this is what they're forced to do. Hey, you know, go out and the same thing with you know, Salah of the Jets. I mean, last year when he was, you know, rolling out Wilson every week instead of going out and find somebody. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, so we all know what he's doing. He's proven to be a better coach than this. Now, we don't know what Jameis Winston is capable of. We do know what Joe Flacco is. You know, I was on our buddy Adam DeBoe's show in off season. He's like, why did y'all? Well, they didn't want a quarterback controversy. Well, really? I mean, this is just standard pat. What do you want him to do? But
he's in an absolute no-win
does he want to cash the checks or does he want to move on?
And I wasn't going to put him in no class. I was going to put Haslam in no class for putting your coach in that position. Hire coach, let him coach. And I don't know that I'm not saying Jameis Winston is the long-term answer, but when you go 29 consecutive drives, I think is what they're up to.
Without a touchdown.
Yeah. Don't your offensive guys around you have to go look, I'm sorry, but you've lost. Who
would pick up Watson right now if they cut him? If you didn't have, if you didn't, they're paying everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you pick him up like
Russell Wilson.
Like Russell Wilson.
I don't know if anybody would.
I sure the hell wouldn't.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Not if I'm playing for anything.
I wouldn't if you threw in a draft choice.
No,
okay.
You know
how much I like draft choices. I wouldn't take him if you gave me a draft choice with him. We'll give you a 5th-round pick. Hell no. I don't want the guy in my building. I don't want the guy in my uniform. I don't want the guy playing football for me for damn sure. No, he brings nothing to the table at this point. Nothing. If you're a good player and you've got baggage, then you gotta weigh the positives and negatives. Okay?
We've got enough of a sample size, way beyond. It's not just shaking off the rust. This thing is done. He got way too much on his mind, and rightfully so. You know that he just can't play the position. He's scared to death back there. He just got no. He is just forget who he was because that is so distant. He's not recapturing that. He's not recapturing 25% close to where he is. He is done. He's the worst quarterback in the NFL, and there's some bad ones.
Yeah,
and he is the worst one. But whenever and this is why you draft him. Okay, we invested in him. Well, I got that, but you got to forget that once you start running your team. Because when you start running your team for other reasons besides just putting your team in the best position to win, you think the rest of the players on that team don't want another quarterback or haven't? Did you see how they responded last year?
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden you could run an offense. I mean, Amari Cooper goes from nothing to 120 yards a week. I mean, it's just.
I don't know if his football people told him that the draft compensation was too much when they made the trade. I thought it was way too much because I think 3 first-round picks is too much for anybody. But I know that every owner in the NFL hated him when that contract came out and it was fully guaranteed. I mean, if they could have voted him out that day, they would have because they were terrified it was going to set precedent that every starting quarterback in the NFL was going to have a 100% guaranteed contract for that. And you know who bit the bullet on that? The Baltimore Ravens, because they took the guy who was an MVP and playing at a high level on a really good team and said, no, we're not going to give you a 100% guaranteed contract. Now, it only saved them like 15%, but the Ravens dug their feet in. Why? Because the Ravens are probably the best organization in the NFL, one of the top 2 or 3 for sure, and the Browns are one of the worst.
Forget that. That's a tired conversation. What about you make the move to Wilson this week? Because it's kind of leaning that way. He's taking reps with the ones now. Fields is 4-2 as a record. It's not just that. They lead the league, and I think, in rushing attempts because, when they even call pass plays, they turn into runs because he's a one-looking run guy. You know you have but I don't know. I don't know.
I would not off a win. Not off of a win. You just won the game by 3 touchdowns. However you won it, you just won a road game by 3 touchdowns. I'm not making the move right now. I'm not to say I wouldn't in a week if he goes out and stinks it up, but I just went across the country and won a game by 3 touchdowns on the road. No, I'm not making the move this week, but I might soon.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Go to break, dude. Go to break, Judge.
We will take a break here, live at lunch here at Snow.
Order.
ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Snow Seafood and Steak in Gonzales on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
C.J. Daniels called probable by Brian Kelly to make the trip and play against Arkansas. So having him back, plus moving Trey'Dez Green out to wide receiver, which he's pretty much a wide receiver anyway, but moving him out there full time will give the wide receiver room a boost for LSU. And he said Chris Hilton is still continuing to make progress. We'll talk about him when he gets out there. But if they just get Daniels and Green out at wide receiver, that will certainly help them a good bit. Rough news for the Giants. Their starting left tackle, Andrew Thomas, is out for the season with an injury that he had the other night against Cincinnati. So they may get Malik Neighbors back this weekend. He's practicing in a limited participation jersey, but Andrew Thomas is done for the year. You could tell he was kind of laboring a little bit last night. Hendrickson was kind of working him a little bit in that game between the Bengals. Last night?
A few nights ago. Charlie.
Monday night, Sunday night, whatever night
Sunday
it was.
night.
They're starting to run together on me, man. We're in week 7.
When Paul Stone brought up and Max, we were talking about doing some research. We've always talked about how Florida produces the most, NFL players. I mean, it's Texas now, and it has been for 3 years now. So, but they, the years run together. The days. This week is not run together. This was a bloodbath in the NFL. I could tell you every game everywhere. It was a rough going.
9 road favorites, and we don't like to back a lot of road favorites around here.
Man, Cincinnati was. Giants were a tough beat on Sunday night. Giants had the ball at their 30, 35. Covering at the time.
And Jones throws an awful pick. I mean, that was just an awful pick.
And then Burrow, not only does he's going to convert, that's fine, but don't throw it for 30 yards and out of bounds to stop the clock. And then,
even the Bengals' first touchdown, did you see when you got the end zone view of it? I mean, the Giants had literally everybody but one person on the left side of the formation. Burrow looked at it like, well, I'm not stupid. And he runs for 50 yards in a touchdown, not just the first.
Well, longest one yet. He's always been an underrated runner. It's just he's got to get down, and it's hurting. Not being not getting down. So I just can't remember. That's how big of a jump both of them. We just take it for granted. Burrow was this great passer and always was and stuff like that. No, man, they ran the ball 30 times against Texas A&M. 30 times.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of those were in
design runs.
Yeah, you can say, well, it went 7 overtimes, but a lot of that was in regulation.
No, man. They were calling design run after design run. It was they trusted his legs at that time more than his arm. Period.
7 overtimes. Oof, we were up late that night. Thanks to the folks here at Snow's for being our host tomorrow.
It's
we're
all
the original
about you and your sleep.
Yeah, it is. We're at the original Walk-Ons Burbank at Nicholson for Max and Jimmy. Jordan back in the studio. I'm Charles Henniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.